And we're back! I got everything I need here, I think, to get started on this. Picked up some line. There's some AutoZone numbers for you. This helps. One side of this is the bubble flare. Focus. I don't know if it's going to focus. It's one-handed, yeah. And the other end is got a bag coming into shot. The other end is bubble on this one too. But this other line I picked up is one bubble, one just double flare. But you can make these anyway, so it's not a big deal. How's this sound on the microphone? These fittings are the ones I needed for. Two for the master cylinder. I think it's this M12 and M10, which is, yeah, that it there? I don't know, it's here somewhere. But two for there, and then I needed various fittings to go from the lines to here, because they're all different. I still might need a few fittings. Had to pick up a new tubing cutter because my old one is the cutter is like broken in a few places, but it still works. Like that half is still good, but the half that's in here is all chewed up. But it's a cheap enough tool. I mean, I've never regretted buying a tool ever. There's a tubing bender. Looks a little better than the one I used to have. I used to have a handheld. And this is for the flaring. So let me see. Let's try and piece this together. I'll put you in the tripod. Let me tell you what's going on here. So these are metric. That's the whole problem. This is because it's a newer. The metric system came in more into play into the automotive world. They finally, by '95, said, "Hey, let's convert to metric system, not just have a mix of everything else." So these are metric, and you see that down in there. That is a kind of a beveled. It's kind of like that right there. So these two have to fit like that. So whatever fitting you get has to look like that. And then this end you see has a kind of a concave, which I think, let's see, I'm pretty sure the bubble, you don't want a bubble fitting for this. I could be wrong. I think just a regular flare. So this end has a regular one of these. Yeah, this one right next to it. Very similar. Bubble flare versus. Are these both? So. See, that's kind of different. Or is that just a bad bubble flare? Just looks a little narrower in the. Yeah, see, that one's like so narrow. Is it just a bad bubble flare, or is that a double? Yeah, I'm gonna say that's the difference. I don't know. It's been a while since I've dealt with brake lines. But one of those is gonna fit better. Otherwise, you're gonna get leaks. So you got to figure that out. So metric. This end. This one threads right in there anyway. It's 3/16 line. So maybe I don't need the adapter. Less adapters, the better. Less chance of leak if you can go direct. And this end, I believe, is all standard. And you can see that's a flare fitting, and it needs down in there. Flare fitting. That's where you need the double or the bubble fitting. So these are flare. You can see how the shape in there is different. So that's why we have to get all these fittings and adapters. And the lines, see, these are about the size of your pinky. And you come down here, there's one that's gigantic. So I'm going to have to cut that off. So this just gets confusing. It's a lot of trips to the parts store getting fittings. So there's no way around it, really. Someone did say if you buy the hard lines for a 95, that's your front wheel there, and you probably can get that one there. And then you just need to deal with your rear brake. But I think I looked up a line. One of the lines was like $50. I'm like, I'm not going to put that into this. This is just going to be sold at auction shortly. Bring a trailer and get ready, folks. Boy, recording takes a lot of time. Setting tripods up. Just going to focus. What's going on? Ah, there we go. So what you want to do with this is you just tighten it softly around your line and that wheel. The slow wheel of death, we'll call it. Can't even do this with two hands. I'm going to get it right up there as far as possible. And there we go. So you just get it finger tight. And just as you make a revolution, keep going tighter and tighter. Just putting a nice score in there. You're scoring it basically. That's how you're cutting it. You just keep going. This is brand new piece of crap. Well, it feels all right actually. They can go back and forth. I think you're better off going one direction because you can see I just moved it. It skipped down. So you just want to go one direction. I am able to hold it, but I guess you could put it, see, put it in a vise, be better. Or a pair of vise grips. Am I moving? I guess it's going. Might be slipping a little bit. Let's see. It's getting easier. Come on now. Get there. You know you want it. Do a hacksaw too. Ah, there we go. But we get a nice clean cut this way. See that? Deburred a little bit, but I'm gonna I just want a single flare on this. Now might as well show you that on the flaring tool. Okay, I moved us over to the vise. We got our tubing flare in the vise. It's all labeled. That says 3/16 because that's the size line, so we want to use that one. And there are instructions on these nice little kits to show you where exactly to put the adapter. You put the line in right up to that lip on the adapter. So I'm a little high here, obviously. So we're just gonna get that down a little bit, right yonder. And we'll start there. And the first flare will be with this. We put our tool on there. So I loosen it. And you tighten it down and puts that first flare. And then take it off. First flare, I believe, is the bubble flare. Yeah, so then we take it off and then we just do this into the line. That'll give us the just the flare that we want. We want this for the fittings. The bubble flare is like that. We want just a regular flare for the, I'll show you, for the fittings. Voila, that's the setup there. I'm going to get these extra tight. That's why it's supposed to have a tool that goes in here. Somebody has borrowed mine and lost it. But these wing nuts are made to be tightened with the tool. You need to get it really tight. You don't want that line to start moving when you crank on this. So I got the fitting in there. And I'm just going to crank it down. That's going to spin over, which is good. It locks it in place. I can come over here. Maybe I can do this with one hand. I do have the tripod right here, folks, but I was going to shoot from above. I didn't think that would be helpful. Sometimes you want to be right in there. Quite a bit of pressure to do this. Obviously, you're compressing, and my vise isn't tight enough. Oh, maybe not tight at all. That might be why. And you just want to keep going until that's flush. Right here, you want to get flush. Jeez, hit the camera, Mike. Christ. And that's it right there. Doesn't look it, but I can feel it. Alright, let's back it out. I'll show you what we got. Sorry. There, yep, bubble fittings first. It's been a while since I did one of these. I had to think about that. So, alright, and then we're just going to go compress this. Don't think I want it up. I think I want to keep it right there. See how it's beveled in there? Yeah, I probably want to keep it right there to do this. I'll just do it live. Why not? I don't need to pause. Now we can see. Let me brace this a little better so I'm not annoying you guys. I guess I've seen flaring videos, but no one's actually done this bit. They just say, yeah, this is how you do it. But if you've never done it, maybe you want to see how it's done. Get this a little bit tighter. I think that might be it. Let's see. Bam! As you can see, that is the double flare, which is, I guess, what a lot of cars do this, or they do the bubble. All right, and make sure you have your fittings on the pipe still. I still have the other end to do, so I don't have them on there. All right. All right, now here's where it gets confusing. So my rear, so the proportioning valve to go to the rear line, which is this bottom fitting here, I needed this fitting. So I'm going to have to put that onto here, because that's going to the rear. But I got this fitting. I could have bought one, but I had it already on this front brake line. The front brake line had it, oddly enough. So I'm going to cut that fitting off. I did use a razor blade because I wanted to get, I think I'm going to bend all this right up to the proportioning valve. If not, I'll use a new line. Yeah, that's where it gets all confusing with fittings, and so take your time. That's all you got to do. Now on your old setup, you might be able to steal some fittings too. But I am keeping this intact because I believe this has some value. But yeah, see how they didn't use, where's the one, am I looking? They had a plug here and a plug here because that went through the ABS system. But those fittings, yeah, I probably could have used those. You probably could do the same if you're doing this. But I want to keep all this intact. Like I said, I think it has some value. They don't make these anymore. Somebody probably can rebuild it. It probably is a core charge. And what just dawned on me too is my old one was chewed up, like I said. Oh man, I love that word. Put some oil on there. Cutting oil. Think of it as you're cutting something. You need some oil on there. So yeah, save your tools, put some oil. Here's another reason you might want to get new lines. Trying to bend them in place on the vehicle is not as easy as it looks. So I went ahead and labeled this. This is going to be, because it's getting confusing, like I said. There's my rear fitting. Put it there. This is my left front. Oh, left front's going to go underneath. I don't know if it matters, the left front, these. But I'm going to bend it around, or bend it around and up into that one. And go from there. And then this one is the other right. This is the right front. I might be able to get a bend in that to go right in there. We'll see. Otherwise, we might have to do a little section of line. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to put this booster in temporarily because I'm seeing a space issue. with having the proportioning valve there, booster, yeah, I might not have room for all this. I might have to come forward with it all. Got these holes to line up with the, except for this one, see that? I'll show you how I did that, because I'm working by myself. I went and took my quick clamp and clamped it to the gas pedal and pried everything, just moved everything over. And I'll see if that is going to help me get my booster in. I just have that one hole. But as you can see, it moves pretty easy. It's just, I think once I line it up, it'll go in. Alright, so that's it mocked up. It's flush against the firewall. There's a little lip on this. I'm guessing that's for this, because people said you had to notch the firewall. That's probably with the WJ maybe. And I think I'm going to have to come out a little bit anyway. It's probably going to sit out this far once it's mounted, because like I had it too long right now with that long push rod. It pushes up the gas brake pedal a little bit. Might not be noticeable. But yeah, look at where I was going to put the proportioning valve is right on the booster, so it's got to come forward. Maybe up in here. Washer bottle will mount just a couple inches further forward. Looks like it's notched right around the box perfectly. Be nice to put the proportioning valve right here. Go sideways with it, maybe. Something like yay. That'd be a little easier. Run some short lines. Definitely easier than trying to get down in there when all this is in place. I guess I don't. I could put it together. What do we say? That's the bottom. And it's right against the engine too. Which gets kind of hot, doesn't it? Nobody likes hot brake fluid. So, maybe bring it over here. Be better. I mean, it is just the intake side, but still a lot of engine heat. Got the steering shaft there. Just tight. You could do it, I guess. Doesn't really matter. These lines move pretty easily. I think they're the aluminum. They can bend it. I don't even know if you need a tubing bender. I just didn't want to risk it. It looks like it's the aluminum. What do they call that? Nickel. Aluminized. Speaking of, this is your, I need to get a vacuum port. There's a vacuum port right here. I took the cap off. I put a 3/8 line. Oh, I got a 3/8 line for it. Usually it's like 5/8. There's a piece of 5/8, but it just floats. So, try that out. So that's going to be a front line, come over to the valve. The other one is over here, behind the booster. So maybe I could do an extension. Might be going back to the store. Okay, I'm taking a little breather on this action over here. I got to figure out a good place for that proportioning valve. But in lieu of that entertainment, I came over here because that's our electric pump. There's a pipe in the way. This high pressure line. I don't know if I'm going to keep all this stuff in there, but I figured I had to unplug it, so I unplugged it because we don't want it running, blasting any pressure that's still in the line. God, to get rid of this stuff would drop like 30 pounds of weight on the car. Just realized the charcoal canister's right over here. Wow. Just jam that thing anywhere. That's crazy. Ay, ay, ay. There she is. What else is holding it? The hose and the pipe go all the way back there. That's what this big pipe was here. It's like a 5/8, almost like a coolant line. Oh boy. Alright, I'm just going to do some thinking here. Thinking and plumbing. Okay, jumping back over here. I put the booster in to determine my right front brake line is going to come under the booster. I'm going to get a junction here. So I need to bend a line that comes over here. And I think it's coming over here. I think I'm going to have rear brake here. Left front, right front. So it's going to come in. It's going to come around like this. So I'm going to start with a bend. I'm just going to eyeball. I have to put the right end on that. So I'm going to flare that. I want to make a bend, yay. So you get your pliers. And you put her in here. We have our right 3/16 line. You put this little groove. Am I in the camera? Yeah. Put a little groove in there. That's how this works. You go like yonder. And this is going to bend around this way. So, if I'm going to have it like yay, this is where it gets confusing for a lot of people too. And believe me, I've done it many a times. Bending pipes the wrong way. My first bend doesn't matter, because if I bend it that way, it doesn't really matter. So this is going to be over there. I'm going to have a junction. I have a little bit of room over there. I'm going to say I'll go a little bit there and start my bend. Yeah. Nice bend. No kink. She'll come down here. Then you can just manipulate by hand once you're there. Something like that. Then when I get over here, I gotta figure out, maybe I'll put this, do the rest of this stuff over here to and then I'll make my other bend. But I do need to go to the store and get another junction. Not a compression union. Compression unions are illegal in most states and not recommended for brake systems. Okay. Alright, this one's a little tricky. I had to do it on the vehicle because it's my rear brake line. I mean, that first one I cut that fitting. Pretty much didn't have to. I think it's the same. Yeah, I think it's the same. Oh well. So I'm just holding on the vice grips. I'm going to tighten down, do my flaring right here. Okay, got the Bauer light out here now. These are great, by the way. Harbor Freight. Highly recommend. Really bright. Went to the store, had to get this junction, I'm calling it. And I have to, this is where I'm running the issues. I have to flare this on the vehicle because this is going over to the passengers. So I need to get this straight. So I can get this fitting on there. And then I can get the flaring tool on here. So I'm pretty much using the tubing bender, but I'm trying to reverse, and that's pretty tight. I was able to do this one. I just did this one and got that fitting on there. So it's just a matter of I may have to stick a piece of metal in here just to get the right bend, or it's a little bit of playing with it, try and straighten that out so I can get a fitting on there. Look at that, I was able to get it. I got just enough. Yeah, I can get that tool in there. Is it that end? Yeah, that end. I may have to go a little bit more. I think I can, so I can zoom out. I think I could get that down a little bit more. And now that it's on there, you could probably straighten it with this fitting on there. Be a little easier, maybe a vice grip, but the stuff is bending nicely. It's not crimping, but a little manipulating, working good. All right, part of engineering is mocking up. I got that in that area. Put the box in. Looks like it's gonna fit. This is gonna hopefully go under our booster. I'm gonna take the booster, try and slip it in there now. I'll come back with this. Oh boy. It's this damn washer bottle. Makes everything tight. That's gonna go there. Let me move that over. That's close to its new mounting spot. The power steering, one of the pumps is sitting on top of this. But this is flexible. I can mount it over here, which I think I'm going to have to do, and come forward. So this line, well, these lines are going to have to come up and into our cylinder. I'm going to have to do some bends. Woo-wee! This is tight. Now, if I wasn't going for keeping this truck as original as possible, yeah, I'd move the washer bottle maybe to the other side. I don't know. What do you think? Most people don't have their air box anymore. They do high flow. But we're trying to make this baby keep original. I think I'll be all right. I'm just going to have to do some adjusting. Adjusting and maybe mount that. But because they really just, the lines are what hold them usually. I'll do some fancy, maybe do a loop. Wow. Okay. This is what I came up with. All right. Bow, bow, and under. So front brakes to the fronts. Rear brake to the rear. This was a metric line, so I didn't need the adapter. I was thinking about it. I maybe, well, no, because it goes up a giant size, so I had to use an adapter anyway. Hope it doesn't leak. Obviously, this is just mocked up for now. But this is all going to sit there. Booster, I mounted in there temporarily. I put some nuts, giant nuts as spacers. So that's where it's going to sit. It's got like plenty of room between the firewall. This is going to sit like yay. Oh. Got some clearance issues there. No, actually, that's right against it. It's hitting the washer, but I'm probably going to adjust. We'll call it adjusting it over once I get it fitted, and I want to keep it off of. It's right below the EGR valve. Don't want it rubbing on that. The engine's probably going to lift that way anyway. Right? Is that the way they torque? But yeah, I'm going to have to adjust. We'll call that adjusting the lines. And then let's see if we can get the airbox is going to sit right here. And there's the front bolt. So it's going to be, front bolt is right in the corner. So this line might, you can't see it with this noise, but this line I might just have to straighten up. But yeah, I think it's just as pretty as what was in there, right? Alright, that's it for tonight. It is a little dark. I'll go clean up and eat, charge up some batteries. And my battery too.